In a seismic shift that's rattling the foundations of American retail, shoppers are increasingly questioning their allegiance to a name once synonymous with unbeatable value: Walmart. The familiar blue and yellow signage, a beacon for budget-conscious families across the nation, is starting to lose its magnetic pull. For decades, Walmart wasn't just a store. It was an institution, the undisputed heavyweight champion of low prices, the default destination for everything from groceries to gadgets. But the retail winds are changing, and a chorus of discontent is growing louder. Whispers of doubt have turned into open conversations, fueled by experiences that suggest the retail giant's crown is slipping. If you've been operating under the assumption that Walmart remains the undisputed king of savings and convenience, it's time for a reality check. The ground beneath this retail colossus is trembling as a confluence of factors: eroding price advantages, declining product quality, a frustrating shopping experience, dwindling customer perks, and mounting ethical concerns are compelling everyday Americans to look elsewhere. Dear viewers, before continuing this video, we kindly ask you to like and subscribe to our channel. Also, if you want to receive notifications about new video releases, please hit the bell icon. Thank you for your understanding. We will continue now. The narrative that Walmart is the unwavering ally of the penny-pinching consumer is being rewritten, and for many, the new chapters are filled with disappointment and a search for alternatives that genuinely deliver on their promises. This isn't just about a few disgruntled customers. It's about a fundamental reevaluation of what value truly means in today's complex economic landscape. And for a growing number, Walmart is no longer providing satisfactory answers. There was an era not so long ago when Walmart reigned supreme as the undisputed champion of affordability in the American marketplace, a sprawling one-stop sanctuary where hardworking families could meticulously stretch every precious dollar. Low prices were not merely a clever marketing tagline. They were the very essence of the brand's identity, the foundational promise that drew millions through its automatic doors week in and week out. This commitment to rock-bottom pricing was the bedrock upon which an empire was built. However, the retail landscape is notoriously dynamic, and the once unshakable perception of Walmart's price supremacy has begun to show significant cracks. The reasons for this erosion are multifaceted, extending far beyond simple corporate strategy adjustments, and are deeply intertwined with the turbulent economic currents buffeting consumers. The present-day economic climate is fraught with an unnerving degree of uncertainty. Inflationary pressures are escalating at a velocity unseen in generations, a relentless upward creep that wages are struggling to match. American families find themselves caught in a tightening vice, squeezed by soaring fuel costs that make every commute a financial calculation, escalating rents that consume an ever larger portion of household budgets, and grocery bills that seem to inflate with each passing week. Against this backdrop, Walmart, the long-celebrated bastion of frugality, is finding itself compelled to implement price increases to absorb the escalating burdens of international tariffs, persistent global supply chain disruptions, and the rising costs of its own operations. This predicament is not exclusive to Walmart. Rather, it is a symptomatic tremor of a much larger economic malaise rippling through the entire fabric of the U.S. economy. Consider the daily reality of someone like Jessica, a single mother in Ohio, a potent symbol of countless Americans navigating the treacherous terrain of modern household economics. She's perpetually juggling overdue bills, the unceasing demands of her children's needs, and the pressures of a full-time job that barely keeps her head above water. For years, Walmart was her trusted ally in this battle, the place she could reliably turn to, expecting to find genuine savings, hoping to fill her shopping cart without an accompanying surge of anxiety about her bank balance. But lately, the numbers on those familiar price tags are bringing her up short, inducing a pause rather than relief. A carton of eggs, a staple in her children's diet, which once cost less than $2, now consistently hovers near the $5 mark. Chicken, another historically reliable budget-friendly protein source, has witnessed a significant and unwelcome price escalation. And this isn't an isolated phenomenon confined to the aisles of her local Walmart. It's a pervasive nationwide trend impacting every major retailer. According to the most recent data released by the U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics, the cost of food purchased from grocery stores has surged by an alarming average of 13.5% over the past 12 months alone. This figure represents the most substantial annual increase recorded since the challenging economic times of 1979. Essential household items, particularly meat, dairy products, eggs, and frozen goods, have borne the brunt of these inflationary pressures. And who is disproportionately shouldering this escalating burden? It's not the affluent luxury shopper, insulated by disposable income, but rather the families operating on tightly constrained incomes, the very demographic that Walmart has historically cultivated and served with an almost singular focus. Yet, inflation is merely one chapter in this unfolding narrative. The broader economic stage is set with mounting tariffs on a wide array of imported goods, many of which Walmart has traditionally sourced in vast quantities from China and other low-cost manufacturing nations. These imported products now arrive on American shores, carrying a substantially heavier price tag. In a bid to safeguard its own profit margins, Walmart has been left with scant alternatives but to transfer these augmented costs directly to its customer base. However, in executing this necessary financial maneuver, the retail behemoth runs the profound risk of alienating its most loyal and price-sensitive shoppers. This situation gives rise to a deeply uncomfortable paradox. The very store that built its formidable reputation on the promise of unparalleled affordability is increasingly beginning to feel expensive. For the legion of longtime devoted customers, Walmart is steadily ceasing to be the dependable, budget-friendly destination it once unassailably was. As the relentless tide of rising costs continues its ascent, consumers are undertaking a fundamental reassessment of their ingrained shopping loyalties, actively exploring alternative retail avenues they might never have previously contemplated. Jessica, the Ohio mother whose struggles we highlighted, is a living embodiment of this paradigm shift. For years, she placed her unwavering trust in Walmart to help her nourish her two young children without decimating her carefully managed budget. But more recently, she has observed a profoundly troubling transformation. "I used to genuinely believe I was making smart financial choices and saving significant money by doing all my shopping at Walmart," she confides, her voice tinged with a mixture of frustration and disillusionment. "But now, every single trip feels like I'm shelling out more and more money, only to bring home a diminishing quantity of goods. It's not just frustrating, it's heartbreaking to feel like you can't provide in the way you used to." Jessica's experience is far from an anomaly. Across the sprawling digital landscapes of social media platforms and community forums, a groundswell of thousands of Americans is vociferously articulating strikingly similar concerns. They are actively posting photographic evidence of bruised, unappetizing produce, dented and damaged packaging, and grocery receipts that bear little resemblance to their prior expectations of value. They are fervently swapping tips and strategies for navigating discount grocery chains like Aldi or Lidl, and collectively venting their exasperation about how their hard-earned money seems to evaporate more quickly than ever before. Walmart constructed its global empire on the foundational pledge of being the most cost-effective option available. But if that critical competitive edge continues to dull and eventually disappears, then a substantial and defining pillar of its corporate identity will crumble alongside it. The pivotal question now crystallizes with stark clarity. If Walmart can no longer consistently deliver the tangible value it so famously promised for decades, how much longer can it realistically maintain its precarious grip on the coveted crown as the undisputed king of American retail? In the relentless, high-stakes race to maintain the illusion of low prices amidst a perfect storm of soaring operational costs and inflationary pressures, Walmart has found itself compelled to aggressively tighten its already lean margins and proactively seek out ever-cheaper suppliers. This is a classic retail gambit, but as every seasoned shopper intuitively understands, the pursuit of lower costs seldom comes without a tangible compromise in other areas. And in Walmart's case, that compromise has become distressingly and increasingly visible in the quality of the merchandise gracing its shelves. The unfortunate consequence is a retail Goliath caught in a seemingly unwinnable battle on two critical fronts, demonstrably failing to offer genuine, lasting value for money and simultaneously struggling to deliver on even basic expectations of product quality. Tragically, It is the everyday American consumer, the very backbone of Walmart's customer base, who is ultimately left to bear the brunt of this decline, paying the price in more ways than one. Consider, for instance, the vital category of groceries. Once widely regarded as a reliable and affordable source for household food staples, Walmart has witnessed a significant and concerning uptick in complaints from frustrated shoppers who feel their trust has been misplaced. Many consumers now routinely report that fresh fruits and vegetables, purchased with the expectation of reasonable longevity, begin to show alarming signs of spoilage within mere days, sometimes even hours, of being brought home. Similarly, meat and seafood products frequently arrive with telltale signs of questionable freshness, perhaps exhibiting an off-putting odor, an unusual texture, or evidence of having been repeatedly frozen and thawed. A recent comprehensive study conducted by Consumer Reports, a respected independent watchdog organization, starkly revealed that Walmart's fresh food section consistently received lower rankings for quality when compared directly against other major national supermarket chains. Picture this scenario, replayed in countless households daily. A single mother, already stretched thin by the demands of work, bills, and childcare, carefully selects a bag of leafy greens from her local Walmart, intending to prepare a nutritious dinner for her family. By the following morning, however, those once vibrant, crisp leaves have transformed into a wilted, yellowing, and wholly inedible disappointment. This experience is far more than merely disappointing. For someone relying on every food purchase to count, it's profoundly defeating and financially wasteful. And the pervasive problem of deteriorating quality extends far beyond the confines of the produce aisle. In diverse categories such as consumer electronics, essential home appliances, and everyday clothing, Walmart has come under sustained fire for what an increasing number of its customers describe as shockingly poor and unreliable product quality. Social media platforms and online review sites are replete with harrowing accounts of items breaking, malfunctioning, or simply falling apart within weeks, or in some egregious cases, mere days of purchase. Imagine the frustration of a blender motor burning out after only a handful of uses, rendering a planned smoothie an impossibility, or a new t-shirt ripping along a seam during its very first wash cycle, a testament to shoddy materials or workmanship. For families living precariously from one paycheck to the next, these premature product failures feel less like minor inconveniences and more like acts of betrayal, not the bargains they were led to expect. So, what complex forces are truly propelling this discernible downward slide in product integrity? At the very core of the issue lies Walmart's hyper-optimized, globally intricate supply chain, a marvel of logistical efficiency meticulously engineered to drive down procurement costs at virtually any cost to other factors. In its relentless pursuit of ever greater savings to bolster its low-price image, Walmart has progressively intensified its reliance on international manufacturers, particularly in regions where regulatory oversight and quality control protocols may not align with, or fall considerably short of, the more stringent standards prevalent in the United States. These mass-produced, often lower-grade products are then shipped across oceans and stocked on shelves in thousands of Walmart stores across America, bearing price tags that frequently seem too good to be true, because, in a growing number of instances, they regrettably are. To present a balanced perspective, it must be acknowledged that Walmart is not the sole retailer grappling with these complex quality control challenges in a globalized economy. However, given Walmart's colossal scale, its sheer market dominance, and its deeply entrenched presence in the daily lives of American consumers, these systemic flaws become magnified and virtually impossible to disregard. When tens of millions of individuals and families rely on Walmart for their essential daily necessities, the cascading consequences of substandard product quality reverberate far beyond simple annoyance or financial loss. They insidiously erode the fragile currency of consumer trust. And in certain alarming instances, the damage inflicted extends much deeper than merely broken appliances or spoiled, wasted food. Subpar product quality can, and sometimes does, morph into a grave matter of public health and safety. A deeply troubling investigative report by NBC News, for example, brought to light evidence that several popular children's toys sold at Walmart contained levels of lead that alarmingly exceeded established federal safety limits, posing a direct and serious health risk to vulnerable young children. Suddenly, the narrative shifts from faulty merchandise to the potential for life-altering harm, all pursued in the name of maintaining those famously low prices. Stories like that of Maria, a devoted Walmart customer for many years, are becoming distressingly more frequent. She recounted her heartbreak and anger when a toy she had purchased for her toddler turned out to be not only defective in its construction, but also potentially hazardous due to its material composition. Across the digital town squares of forums, Facebook groups, TikTok feeds, and Reddit communities, thousands of disillusioned users are now actively sharing photographic and video evidence documenting defective products acquired from Walmart. The gallery of grievances is extensive. Broken shelving units unable to bear their intended loads, garments tearing prematurely, and the all-too-common sight of moldy or spoiled groceries, all purchased from a brand that once commanded their unwavering trust. Walmart meticulously built its retail empire upon the twin pillars of value and convenience. But as that foundational promise visibly weakens under the weight of quality concerns, a growing contingent of shoppers is beginning to articulate tough, probing questions. Are consumers genuinely saving anything in the long run when the quality of purchased goods suffers so dramatically, necessitating premature replacements or leading to outright waste? Are those heavily advertised rollback prices truly worth the inherent risk, the escalating hassle, and the gnawing disappointment? And perhaps the most haunting and critical question of all now echoes in the minds of many. If Walmart can no longer consistently guarantee safe, reliable products for the very people who depend on it most profoundly, does it still genuinely deserve its long-held iconic status as America's preeminent go-to store? In the fiercely competitive arena of retail, securing enduring customer loyalty hinges on far more than just the allure of low prices and the availability of decent products. A crucial, often underestimated, yet profoundly felt element in this complex equation is the overall shopping experience itself. For a significant portion of the American populace, a routine trip to Walmart was once a relatively convenient, perhaps even comforting, and predictable component of their weekly household management. Today, however, that same excursion is increasingly perceived not as a pleasant or efficient errand, but rather as a stressful, time-consuming, and frequently exhausting challenge. Let us commence with the most conspicuously visible symptom of this experiential decline: the pervasive and frustrating issue of empty shelves. Across a multitude of Walmart stores spanning the nation, the once dependably fully stocked aisles are now all too often punctuated by gaping, barren voids where basic, essential goods should rightfully be. From everyday necessities like toilet paper and milk to fresh produce, such as fruits and vegetables, shoppers regularly enter with a meticulously prepared list, only to depart with a palpable sense of disappointment and a collection of unmet needs. This stocking predicament became particularly acute and widely publicized during the height of the COVID-19 pandemic and the subsequent ongoing global supply chain crisis that it precipitated. Yet even now, years after the initial disruptions, the problem of inadequate restocking and inconsistent product availability has not been comprehensively resolved, continuing to plague the shopping experience for many. And the issue isn't merely confined to what's missing from the shelves, it's also about the pervasive chaos and disarray that often characterizes the remaining merchandise. A palpable sense of disorganization has regrettably become a defining and highly criticized feature of numerous Walmart locations. Shelves frequently appear jumbled and poorly maintained, with items haphazardly placed in incorrect sections, creating a confusing treasure hunt for shoppers. Price tags are often missing entirely, inaccurate, or mismatched with the products they purport to identify, leading to frustration at the checkout. Consequently, navigating the sprawling store can often feel less like an organized shopping trip and more like a disorienting scavenger hunt gone awry. Sarah, a dedicated longtime Walmart shopper residing in Texas, articulated her mounting frustration with the current state of affairs. I used to genuinely appreciate how straightforward and remarkably efficient it was to shop here. Everything was where it was supposed to be. Now, it feels like I'm aimlessly wandering through a poorly organized labyrinth, just hoping that I'll get lucky and eventually stumble upon what I actually need. But the pervasive disarray does not conclude its unwelcome presence at the edge of the shelves. Customer service, undeniably a cornerstone of any positive and rewarding shopping experience, has also suffered a noticeable and deep decline within the Walmart ecosystem. The corporation's operational model, which is heavily predicated on aggressive cost-cutting measures and maintaining minimal staffing levels on the sales floor, frequently leaves customers feeling stranded and unsupported precisely when they require assistance. Unlike the experience in many smaller retail establishments, where employees are often readily available and seemingly eager to assist shoppers, customers at Walmart are frequently left to their own devices, navigating complex store layouts or product queries without aid. The proliferation of self-checkout stations, while theoretically designed to enhance efficiency for some, has inadvertently become a significant point of friction and frustration, particularly for elderly customers, individuals with disabilities, or those less familiar or comfortable with the technology. These stations often require staff intervention for age-verified items or unexpected issues, leading to new bottlenecks. Furthermore, there's the increasingly prevalent issue of employee attitude. A substantial number of shoppers have taken to online platforms to voice their profound dissatisfaction with encounters involving unfriendly, impatient, or in some reported instances, outright rude staff interactions. What was once considered a rare aberration in customer service is now emerging as a disturbingly common thread woven through online reviews and consumer forums. Michael, a father from Ohio, recounted a recent and disheartening encounter. I politely approached a staff member to inquire about the location of children's art supplies, and she just audibly sighed, turned, and walked away without uttering a single word. I was genuinely taken aback. I simply couldn't believe that level of overt disrespect from someone whose job ostensibly involves customer assistance. Beyond the realms of mere inconvenience or perceived impoliteness, there lies the more unsettling and growing concern regarding personal safety within and around Walmart premises. In numerous urban and some suburban locations, Walmart stores have unfortunately become perceived hotspots for incidents of petty theft, shoplifting, and, more alarmingly, even violent altercations. Crime statistics from various jurisdictions indicate a noticeable surge in shoplifting cases across multiple states, compelling stores to respond with increasingly stringent security measures. These measures often include locking up small, high-value items like electronics accessories or personal care products in cumbersome glass cases, and significantly tightening surveillance throughout the store. While these steps are ostensibly implemented to protect valuable inventory from theft, they inadvertently transmit a clear and somewhat disconcerting message to law-abiding customers. This environment may not be the safe, welcoming, and community-focused place it once aspired to be. Some shoppers, like Jessica, a single mother residing in California, have had the misfortune of experiencing this darker side firsthand, leaving lasting emotional scars. I once witnessed a robbery unfolding right there in the store's parking lot, she shared, her voice still conveying the shock of the event. It was in broad daylight. I had my young child with me at the time. I never imagined that a simple grocery shopping trip could feel so inherently dangerous. This palpable erosion of the overall customer experience is accomplishing far more than just annoying and inconveniencing shoppers. It is actively damaging the very brand image that Walmart painstakingly spent decades and billions of dollars cultivating. When customers consistently feel ignored by staff, unsafe in the store environment, or simply overwhelmed by the disorganization and lack of assistance, they inevitably begin to ponder the most obvious and logical question: why should I continue to shop here at all? As an increasing number of Americans critically weigh their available options, a discernible segment is choosing to redirect their valuable business elsewhere, consciously opting for smaller, cleaner, more customer-centric stores that offer not only the specific items they require, but also the fundamental dignity, respect, and peace of mind they rightfully deserve during their shopping endeavors. Walmart may indeed still dominate the vast retail landscape by virtue of its sheer size and operational scale, but if it persists in neglecting the experiential quality for the very individuals who populate its aisles and fund its operations, it risks forfeiting far more than just immediate sales. It risks hemorrhaging trust. And in today's hyper-competitive, consumer-driven market, trust is an absolutely indispensable commodity. Without it, even the largest and most formidable retailer in America can begin to slowly but surely crumble, one disillusioned and lost customer at a time. There was a distinct period when Walmart's customer-centric policies and attractive incentives were significant contributing factors to why millions of Americans loyally chose to conduct their shopping there week after painstaking week. From notably generous and hassle-free return options to enticing membership deals that promised tangible savings, Walmart had cultivated a strong reputation for genuinely rewarding its steadfast shoppers and fostering a sense of mutual benefit. However, today, those once cherished and widely appreciated perks appear to be steadily receding into the realm of fond memory, increasingly supplanted by a landscape characterized by mounting frustration, widespread confusion, and a growing, palpable sense of betrayal among its customer base. Cast your mind back to what many now refer to as the golden days, an era when Walmart's return policy was lauded as one of the most straightforward and consumer-friendly in the entire retail sector. If a purchased product didn't perform as expected, was defective, or simply wasn't suitable, you could typically just bring it back. The process was generally devoid of excessive hassle, accusatory interrogations, or an array of bureaucratic hoops to navigate. This lenient approach provided shoppers with a valuable sense of peace of mind, a comforting assurance that Walmart effectively had their back if things went awry. Unfortunately, that comforting sense of security is rapidly vanishing, eroding under the pressure of revised corporate policies. Nowadays, customers frequently find themselves ensnared in a complex and often bewildering web of fine print, encountering increasingly restrictive terms and conditions, and facing inconsistent enforcement of these policies across different stores or even among different employees within the same store. Items that have been opened or even slightly used, which once might have been accepted for return without issue, are now often deemed ineligible. Return windows have been significantly tightened for many product categories, placing a greater onus on the consumer to identify issues quickly. A growing chorus of shoppers now report having to arduously plead their case to seemingly disinterested or inflexible staff members merely to exercise what was formerly considered a straightforward consumer right. The discernible decline in customer-centric initiatives does not, regrettably, conclude with return policies. Walmart Plus, the retail behemoth's much-touted paid membership program, which was initially hailed by the company as a revolutionary game-changer in the loyalty space, has also come under considerable fire from subscribers. Consumers eagerly signed up, enticed by persuasive marketing promises of exclusive, members-only savings, early access to deals, and a host of other special benefits. Yet, for a substantial number of these members, the reality of the program has starkly contrasted with its promotional allure. Many quickly and disappointingly realized that a significant portion of essential high-frequency grocery items, staples such as milk, eggs, fresh meat, and bread, were mysteriously and consistently excluded from the advertised discounts. This has led many to question the fundamental value proposition. What, precisely, is the point of subscribing to a savings club that doesn't actually provide savings on the very items that families purchase most regularly and rely upon most heavily? Consider the experience of Linda, a mother of 3 from Texas, who enthusiastically enrolled in Walmart Plus with the optimistic hope of stretching her family's increasingly strained grocery budget. "I genuinely thought I was being a savvy shopper, investing a little bit up front with the expectation of saving a lot more down the line," she explains, her tone now laced with clear disillusionment. "But after just a few months of membership, I came to the frustrating realization that the specific items I needed to buy every single week were almost never included in any of the member discounts. I felt completely duped, as if I had been tricked into paying for something that offered me virtually nothing tangible in return." Linda's narrative of disappointment is far from an isolated incident. Across numerous Reddit threads, dedicated Facebook consumer groups, and various online consumer advocacy forums, similar complaints are pouring in at an alarming rate. Members frequently describe feeling profoundly misled, believing they were cleverly tricked into subscribing to a program that ultimately appears to benefit the company's bottom line far more than it benefits the actual customer. Some disgruntled members have even speculated that Walmart might be intentionally limiting its most attractive discounts to less popular or overstocked items, thereby boosting its own profit margins while leaving its loyal, fee-paying members feeling increasingly disillusioned and shortchanged. Even the once lauded in-store promotions, which were traditionally the vibrant highlight of holiday shopping seasons and special sale events, have palpably lost much of their former sparkle and customer appeal. Sales events that were once famous for their deep discounts and incredible bargains, such as the annual Black Friday spectacle, have progressively become underwhelming affairs. The advertised discounts often barely scratch the surface of regular prices, and the associated fine print frequently includes so many exclusions and conditions that it leaves customers shaking their heads in confusion and frustration. Many observant shoppers have noted a recurring pattern. Heavily advertised deals are often either tied to products of demonstrably lower quality, perhaps manufactured specifically for the sale event, or are available in such severely limited quantities that it becomes nearly impossible for the average shopper to actually secure and benefit from the so-called bargain. And then there's the subtle yet persistent strategic shift towards promoting private label products. Walmart's various in-house brands are being pushed onto consumers more aggressively than ever before. While these private label items often do come with a lower upfront price tag, the corresponding trade-off in terms of quality, durability, and even taste, in the case of food items, has become increasingly obvious and a point of contention for many shoppers. Discerning consumers are noticing that these lesser-known, often less reliable alternatives frequently don't match the consistent quality and trustworthiness of established national brands. Instead of genuinely offering real, tangible value through these private labels, Walmart appears to many to be primarily cutting corners, thereby saving money for the corporation while often leaving its customers with products that ultimately disappoint or fail to meet their expectations. The steady and undeniable erosion of Walmart's once generous customer perks and consumer-friendly policies isn't merely about isolated instances of individual inconvenience or minor financial losses. It reflects a much broader and more concerning strategic recalibration within the company, one that seems increasingly and overtly focused on maximizing profit margins rather than on cultivating and nurturing genuine long-term relationships with its people, its customers. Once widely hailed as the budget-friendly haven for America's working-class families, Walmart is now increasingly being viewed by a significant segment of its former loyalists as a retail Goliath that is demonstrably more concerned with its quarterly earnings reports and shareholder dividends than with building and maintaining lasting trust and goodwill with its consumer base. This perceptible shift in corporate priorities raises a deeply troubling and pivotal question for the company's future. If Walmart is no longer consistently delivering real, discernible value through its array of perks, benefits, and operational policies, what compelling incentives are actually left to keep customers faithfully returning to its stores? With a growing number of agile and customer-focused competitors now offering comparable, if not sometimes better prices, coupled with demonstrably superior customer service and more transparent, easily understood benefits, Walmart may well be engaging in a high-stakes gamble with an asset it absolutely cannot afford to lose: the deeply ingrained loyalty of its vast customer base. In an economic era where consumers are empowered with more choices and information than ever before, brand loyalty is something that must be diligently earned and consistently reinforced, not simply assumed or taken for granted. And if Walmart continues down this path of diminishing customer value, it may soon make the painful discovery that the greatest and most irrevocable cost of all is the widespread erosion of the public trust it once so commandingly held. Walmart, a name that once stood as an unambiguous beacon of convenience and affordability for countless households across America, now finds itself under a scrutinizing lens, as behind its brightly lit, heavily stocked shelves lies a complex and often troubling reality of social and environmental repercussions. These impacts, frequently unseen or unconsidered by the average shopper focused on price and product, not only tarnish Walmart's carefully curated public image, but also increasingly prompt consumers to pause and critically question the broader ethical framework and corporate responsibility of one of the world's largest and most influential retail entities. Let's begin by examining the environmental dimension. Walmart's sprawling and intricate supply chains stretch across the entire globe, linking factories and manufacturing hubs like China and Bangladesh with agricultural producers on American farms and beyond. Regrettably, In its unyielding quest to maintain its signature, everyday low prices, Walmart often engages in partnerships with suppliers who can offer the absolute cheapest production costs. Frequently, these are the very same suppliers who operate under lax, poorly enforced, or non-existent environmental standards. The tangible and damaging results of these sourcing decisions are manifold. The excessive and often indiscriminate use of chemical pesticides on produce farms, leading to soil degradation and water contamination. The generation of vast quantities of toxic waste from textile and clothing factories, polluting local waterways and ecosystems. And the significant carbon footprint associated with transporting billions of items across vast international distances. A sobering report published by the World Resources Institute, a respected environmental think tank, indicated that Walmart's suppliers alone are responsible for emitting millions of metric tons of carbon dioxide annually, contributing significantly to global climate change. While Walmart has, in recent years, publicly pledged to undertake initiatives aimed at cutting its carbon emissions and promoting sustainability, critics argue that the pace and scale of these efforts are painfully slow and woefully inadequate when juxtaposed against the sheer magnitude of the environmental challenges posed by its massive operational footprint. For the growing segment of environmentally conscious consumers, the act of shopping at Walmart is increasingly viewed not merely as a transaction, but as an ethically fraught choice, tacitly supporting practices that contribute to environmental degradation. The detrimental impact, however, is not confined solely to the environmental sphere. It extends deeply into the social fabric as well. Walmart's core, everyday low prices strategy, while appealing to consumers, frequently comes at a significant, though often hidden, social cost. To consistently maintain these low price points, Walmart exerts immense and unrelenting pressure on its myriad suppliers to slash their own costs to the bare bone. This relentless downward pressure often has devastating consequences for smaller businesses, including local mom-and-pop stores, community pharmacies, and independent boutiques that once formed the vibrant economic anchors of their respective communities. These smaller enterprises, unable to compete with Walmart's massive purchasing power and aggressive pricing, are often squeezed out of the market entirely. When a new Walmart store enters a local area, these established family-run businesses frequently find themselves unable to sustain operations and are forced to close their doors. A comprehensive study conducted by the Economic Policy Institute, a nonprofit American think tank, found compelling evidence that Walmart's presence in local communities often correlates with a demonstrable lowering of average wages in the retail sector and significant net job losses within the small business ecosystem. Workers who were previously employed at these local family stores often lose their livelihoods, while those who are subsequently hired by Walmart typically face comparatively lower pay scales and less comprehensive benefits packages. Even Walmart's own direct employees do not always fare well within the corporate structure. Numerous reports and employee testimonials describe challenges related to low wages that struggle to keep pace with the cost of living, unstable and unpredictable work schedules that make childcare and personal planning difficult and highly stressful, demanding work environments often characterized by understaffing and intense pressure to meet performance metrics. Despite its status as one of America's largest private employers, Walmart continues to face persistent criticism for paying wages that fall below what is considered a living wage in many states, leading some employees to rely on public assistance programs to make ends meet. For the discerning and ethically aware consumer, every trip to Walmart, every item purchased, implies a degree of participation in a complex, global supply chain that is frequently riddled with these ethical quandaries. From indirectly supporting manufacturing processes that may contribute to pollution, to inadvertently contributing to the economic hardship of local communities and the challenging working conditions of retail and factory workers globally, these broader implications are all, in a sense, baked into the final price of each item on the shelf. This is precisely where consumers are increasingly being called upon to pause, reflect, and make more informed choices. The critical question arises: are the few dollars potentially saved on a shopping trip to Walmart truly worth the collective cost to the environment, the vitality of local communities, and the well-being of workers both at home and abroad? As consumers increasingly look beyond the price tag to consider the full spectrum of a product's journey and a corporation's impact, the very definition of value is undergoing a profound transformation. As this video wraps up, we'd like to remind you to like and subscribe to our channel. Your support is vital for our channel's growth and helps us keep creating content. To be notified about new videos, remember to hit that bell icon. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.